Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, it's time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Alright guys, I'm going to talk about something I see quite a bit of, often on YouTube, Instagram, other places, of various so-called fitness gurus who promote some really absurd training ideas and practices, and they have big followers. And you know what, I'm not going to call any specific person out. You know what, because there's too many doing this for me to figure out who all of them are. But if you guys say, hey, are you talking about so and so, I'm going to ask you, do they do the things I'm talking about in this video? Then yes. If they don't do the things I talk about in this video, then no. But if the shoe fits, wear it, right? We really need to name names. If the shoe fits, wear it. And you might want to reconsider who you're listening to for fitness advice if this is what they're doing. And the two things are people who do not promote doing cardio, people even who cut with no cardio, and people who seem to always need straps and wraps for everything they do. Now, what a lot of people would say is like, well, you know, you can train with all that stuff and still have a nice physique. You can not do cardio and still have a nice physique. Okay, but if you have a nice physique and you're out of shape, you have all sorts of nagging injuries, you have strength weaknesses like zero grip strength, you don't do any cardio, you have no conditioning, why do you call yourself a fitness channel or fitness expert? Why would anyone listen to them for fitness? They're models. Alright, you would go to them for modeling advice. Maybe that's someone you go to teach you how to be a fitness model because you want to be on the cover of magazines, but they're not going to get you into shape. And it's really weird that you have people out there today, they consider being in shape to be purely your body composition. And shape seems to be almost entirely based upon how low your body fat percentage is, no other factor. That's not being in shape. Being in shape usually means you're physically fit. You're strong, you're fast, you're flexible, and you have endurance. That's what in shape usually means, whereas in fitness itself is all-encompassing health and athleticism. But just being in shape, it means that you're healthy, you're athletic, you're fit. You can run fast, you can jump high, you can lift a heavy weight, right? You're conditioned, you're strong. That's what in shape means. Now, people would say, well, doesn't that involve body weight and body fat to some extent? Of course it does. Of course it does, because if you're carrying too much body fat, your endurance could suffer for it, right? I mean, it's fair enough to say if you have 30 or 40 pounds of body fat that you need to lose, it is going to limit your endurance. You're not going to be running too many marathons too easily, are you? So that's a factor. Excess body fat can be a factor in overall fitness. It can be a factor in being in shape, but it's certainly not even remotely close to being the only determiner of it. But that's what a lot of these guys promote. That's literally all they have, but they're out of shape in every other way. The cardio one is a big one. I'm sorry, but anyone who is out there promoting health and fitness who doesn't do cardio or who talks about getting really lean with zero cardio, I don't do any cardio to cut. So basically you use starvation. You use starvation in the most unhealthy way possible to lose body fat. Because you know what? It's healthier to get more nutrition in, more food in, and burn off excess calories than it is to just crash your calories really low and be less active. Alright, physical activity is healthy. Doing more physical activity for when we live in a sedentary society like we do is generally going to improve your health. Yeah, sure, it'll let you eat more food also while losing weight, but it will improve your health, your quality of life, your mood, everything. It will make you feel physically better. And there are plenty of people out there who lift a lot of weights. When they go to check any of their conditioning, they have no conditioning. They have no endurance. They are actually out of shape. They're actually out of shape. And a lot of people who lift a lot of weights, even when they ride a bike or whatever, they find they're not as mobile and everything else as they thought they were. They start doing any sort of cardio or anything outside of the weights they do, because oftentimes they do so much isolation stuff, they oftentimes lack a lot of mobility and stuff in their body. They actually find that various forms of physical activity, they may not be that good at it. Now, some people who lift weights and lifting weights can transfer over to these things. It can transfer, but it depends on what you're doing. Alright, if you're training to some extent like an athlete, yes, it will improve mobility. It will improve work capacity. It will actually make your endurance work easier if you do it a certain way. But people who do way too much isolation work, way too many partials, things like that, they might find it's not going to help them as much as they think it is. And there's nothing wrong with doing isolation work, but it certainly isn't going to make you that fit to do the majority of your training as isolation work. So keep that in mind. But yeah, the lack of cardio. The lack of cardio is bad for you. Cardio improves your health. It improves your longevity. Everyone should be doing cardio. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say you should probably be doing some sort of cardio 6 to 7 days a week, at least 30 minutes. If you really are concerned about your health and your fitness, you should be doing cardio almost every day, if not every day. And I think every single health expert will tell you the same thing. You need more than just weightlifting to be in shape. Weightlifting is an important component of being in shape because it can train multiple different aspects of your fitness. I mean, it's multifaceted, but you do need cardio. And anyone who's not promoting cardio or bragging about how they cut without doing cardio, they're not promoting fitness. And they don't have your best interest in mind if they're telling you that this is what they do and that maybe you should imitate them. That's not fitness. It has nothing to do with fitness. Now, same thing when we come to weightlifting. You have all these people out there who have such glaring weaknesses that they have muscle imbalances that cause nagging injuries and they need to use straps for everything. How physically fit are you if you can't pick up a decently heavy weight without straps? And the excuse is always used, well, a lot of my back muscles would lag if I didn't use straps. Really? Because tons of people have massive backs who don't own a pair of straps. But they also have massively strong grips and they have big, thick, powerful forearms and everything else to go with it. Grip strength is a massive part of your fitness. Grip strength carries over to an enormous variety of real-world activities. Everything from picking stuff up, moving things, to various manual labor, to martial arts, to fighting. Grip strength absolutely matters. And you know what? As you get older, grip strength is one of the things that you'll be judged by. Like when they give you a physical and a doctor wants to see how what sort of shape you're in, they'll test your grip strength. They'll look at that because it starts to matter as you get older. And here's the thing. Do you know why guys have to use straps? I want you to think about this. Why does anyone have to use straps? Because they've already developed a muscle imbalance. If people had just started doing all of their pulling and tons of stuff with no straps and never bought a pair of straps to begin with, their grip wouldn't be a weak link. The grip wouldn't be a weak link. Particularly when you start doing various other exercises that aren't even pulls that are going to put strain on your forearms, or you have to do stuff in a racked position, front squats, push presses. When you start throwing stuff like that in addition to doing all your deadlifting, rowing, chinning, everything else without straps, you're going to find that your grip strength is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Grip strength is very, very rarely a weak link for anyone who's never bought a pair of straps to begin with. People who do lots and lots of various exercises with no assistance for their hands tend to develop an enormous grip strength to go with their strong back. All right, so these are guys who don't even know the basics of training, and they're going to run around and use straps for everything. They have a glaring fitness weak link. That is a massive strength imbalance to have a weak grip. Particularly with light weights, guys. I mean, I see guys strapping up for 400 pounds. Are you serious? You're telling me a grown man who's been lifting weights for 2 or 3 years? Someone who's been lifting weights for 3 years needs straps to do 5 to 10 reps with 405 on a deadlift or a rack pull. I mean, we see stuff like this. It blows my mind. How could their grip possibly be that weak? How could their grip be that weak if they've been training for 3 years? Have they not been doing any grip work in between? I mean, if they've been using straps, but then they do some sort of grip work, something to help balance it back out because they're like, oh, I don't want it, it's going to be my weak link. Well, you're training the weak link too, right? Because if they were, they wouldn't be needing straps for these little light-ass weights they throw around. I mean, no offense, but you shouldn't need straps to do grip work with 405 on a rack pull or a deadlift or a deficit deadlift or anything else. If you've been training for at least 3 years, your grip strength should have naturally developed to be way stronger than the minimum needed to do something like that. I'm talking drug-free guys, not even guys on drugs. All right, anyone whose grip is that weak, if they've been training 3 years, if they need straps for something like that, you have to be kidding me. They have no grip strength. They have a massive weakness, and people are going to get advice from these people. Same thing, all these guys who have all of these, they wrap everything up, they need sleeves, they need wraps. Why? Because, well, my joints hurt. Your joints hurt. Well, your joints hurt because you have muscle imbalances and you don't know how to train. They're because of piss poor training methods, and it could be anything from piss poor technique to muscle imbalances to piss poor training programming. Oh, I go hard all the time. Oh, I lift hard. I push myself to the limits. I do all this volume. Well, clearly you're not recovering. Clearly you don't know how to train, because if you're having to wrap everything up and need sleeves and everything else, your joints and connective tissue aren't recovering from your training. You're clearly programming it wrong. Again, you have people who can't even program for themselves. And if people are having to wrap and strap up, wraps and sleeves and everything else all the time because of nagging pains, or to keep joints warm because they hurt, these people can't even write a training program for themselves. How in the hell are they going to write training programs for 100,000 people? They can't even sort their own training out. They can't even balance their recovery and their deloads with their connective tissue. Or they use such terrible technique that it's causing problems also. But there's the thing also, if that's the case, they're teaching these same techniques to all their viewers. And this is what people learn from. This is what people want to learn from. And it would be fine if they were teaching other stuff, but this is what they're teaching. You know, guys would be like, well, you're wanting to talk, you're not shredded. Yeah, but I don't put out programs on how to get shredded, do I? Just throwing that out there. And I'm not saying a person has to do something to be able to coach others. It's not always necessary. Some of the best coaches in the world don't do a thing. But here's the thing. Okay, that's a valid criticism of someone like me, but am I writing programs teaching you how to get shredded? Am I writing you guys out a diet and a training program to get contest lean? No. No, I'm not. Therefore, that's not a valid criticism of what I'm teaching you. I'm teaching people how to get bigger, stronger, faster. Right? I think all of you should be able to deadlift 500 pounds. I think every healthy man out there under the age of 50, if they train, I think should be able to deadlift 500 pounds. I think that's totally obtainable unless you've got a health issue or an injury. You know what? That's the sort of stuff I teach you. Teach people that they should be doing cardio, that they should be fit, that they should have a balanced musculature, that their joints and their tendons should all be healthy. You should be strong, you should be flexible, you should be mobile. That's what I'm teaching. And that's the difference. A lot of these guys, they might know how to get ripped, but they sure as hell don't know how to train without their joints and tendons hurting all the time. They sure as hell don't know how to train to be strong enough to do just basic exercises with minimal weight without straps. These guys don't know how to train to live a long time. They don't do cardio and stuff. A lot of these guys don't do cardio. You really think they're going to be that healthy 20, 30 years from now? Especially considering most of them use a bit of gear. Even when they claim they don't, they use a little bit of trim, a little bit of bar. Pretty normal on YouTube, even among the natties. How healthy you think they're going to be doing no cardio? How healthy you think they're going to be doing no cardio when they can't lift anymore because of all these little crippling injuries start to add up, and their shoulders and their elbows and their knees hurt too bad and they can't really lift anymore, in addition to all those years of not doing any cardio? You really think they're going to be doing that well? There's some that are going to be doing great, because there are some YouTubers out there who do promote good stuff. A lot of these guys don't. A lot of these guys are dumbass kids who are just lucky they haven't hurt themselves that badly yet. And it's the blind leading the blind. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.